In this video, I'm going to share the 5 personal finance apps that everybody should be using to organize their financial life. See, one of the top reasons why people struggle financially is they don't put effort into understanding their finances. In fact, only 57% of Americans are considered financially literate, according to surveys from Standards & Poor's. Not being financially literate is a surefire way of finding yourself with money problems. And this makes sense. If you want to know how to do anything, you need to learn it and understand it first. That's why the apps I'm going to share with you today all help you to better understand where your money and finances currently stand. I've gone ahead and made 5 categories of apps, and for each one I will share my top choice and then a few alternatives in case you wanted to go with a slightly different approach. And real quick, before we jump in, please do consider liking and subscribing to help with the YouTube algorithm and to grow the channel if you're enjoying the content. With that being said, the first app that everybody should have on their phone is a banking app. Having your banking app on your phone is important so that you can regularly check in to monitor the status of your money. You should be checking regularly enough that you're not overdrafting and so that you're able to move money to the places it needs to be. Not to mention that this app will also serve as the starting point for all the other apps, as you will connect these to those apps to organize your money. Now, I'm guessing there's a good chance everybody watching this already has their banking app on their phone, but I wanted to mention this also for the fact that not all banks and their apps are created equal. That's why my favorite bank and banking app is SoFi Checking and Savings. We'll first touch on the fact that SoFi is an online bank that offers a great high-yield savings account that pays out 4.6% APY with an associated checking account that pays 0.5% APY. This means that compared to traditional bank accounts like Chase's savings account that has an APY of just 0.01%, you're making 460 times more money on your savings. As a standalone selling point, even before talking about the great app, this should be enough to convince you into switching from a traditional savings account to a high-yield savings account. However, on top of being a better place for your money, from a return perspective, SoFi has one of the best apps in my opinion. It has a clean user interface that is easy to navigate even when just getting started. On the app homepage, you have a summary of all your banking accounts, a dashboard where you can link credit cards, investment accounts, and loans to track your net worth, as well as free credit score monitoring. Over on the banking tab, they make it incredibly easy to view and use everything related to your accounts. They have a way to transfer money, make deposits through the app, set up bill payments, and to use Zelle to send money to friends or businesses. Within the app, they also have tabs for the SoFi credit card, SoFi Invest, and loans. However, these are features I personally don't use as I don't want their credit card, have a better app to use for investing, which I will mention next, and have no need for a loan right now. However, these features are nice to have and I'm sure it would be easy to use if you want them. As for alternatives, I would recommend other high-yield savings accounts like Ally Bank or Discover. If you want more information about the related APYs and features of these accounts, you can check out my video dedicated to the 7 best high-yield savings accounts up here. But as far as the apps are concerned, I've heard great things about their usability, and I think any of these options would be great apps to have on your phone. Moving on to the second app that everybody should have downloaded is an investing app. This app will allow you to invest into stocks, ETFs, and in some cases crypto too. And in this category, my top choice is Robinhood. Perhaps the best thing that Robinhood has going for it is that it has an easy to use, clean interface, and when you're trying to get an understanding of your finances, this is so important because you don't want some clunky, hard to use app that makes investing harder than it needs to be. Another great feature Robinhood has that I think is something any good brokerage account should have is commission-free stock trading. This means that you don't have to pay your broker anything, which ultimately leads to more money in your pocket. And truthfully, Robinhood is really the pioneer of commission-free stock trading space that helped bring investing to the masses. Soon after they did it, other brokerage firms followed in their footsteps and removed commission fees on trading. Another great thing it has for beginners is the ability to purchase fractional shares. To best explain this concept, let's say that you want to buy Amazon stock, and right now it costs $200 a share, but you only have $100. With Robinhood, you can buy half a share and don't need to have the full $200 to own Amazon stock. Another nice feature is that Robinhood allows you to buy and sell crypto if that's the way you like to invest, unlike the other apps I will mention later. Robinhood also comes with a free stock when you sign up and deposit money in your account, which is an added bonus to all of its other great features. There's also a premium subscription service called Robinhood Gold, which costs $5 a month and for some people may make sense as it has potential to provide a lot of value. Gold features include 5% APY on idle cash, 3% cash back on Robinhood Gold credit card if you're approved, unlimited 1% deposit boost, which means they will match 1% of however much money you deposit, and 3% IRA matching on every dollar. Gold isn't something I would recommend to everyone, but it does bring appeal to Robinhood if this is potentially something you could find yourself benefiting from. Real quick, before we move on to some alternatives, I will say Robinhood is not all positive. They notoriously shut down the buying of GameStop stock when the whole GameStop craze was happening. This left a lot of users and critics disenfranchised with the app, and understandably so. However, the way I think that the average person invests, this shouldn't be too much of a worry, but I did want to note it for anybody that cares deeply about that issue. Now, for Robinhood alternatives, I think the two best competitors are Webull and Moomoo. These apps both have commission-free trading, ability to buy fractional shares, and a bonus for signing up. As I mentioned earlier, neither of them have the ability to trade crypto. However, Webull does have a separate app to do this. I like that both of these apps also have easy to use UIs and make investing easy. I honestly don't think you can go wrong with any of these apps, but as I said, I think Robinhood is the best. Up next, for our third must-have app, we're going to need a budgeting app. I think a budgeting app is important for anybody who's trying to organize their finances because one of the best ways to stay organized is to track your money, whether manually or automatic. The way I see it, there's really two routes you can go down for this. The first one is to make free manual spreadsheets, or you can pay for a budgeting app that has all the features you need. Unfortunately, ever since Mint shut down, I have not been aware of any good free budgeting apps that offer all the features you would want, as they are all offered behind some sort of paywall. But let's start with talking about manual spreadsheets. The app I would recommend for this is simply Google Sheets, as it will work seamlessly between your phone and other devices. This is my personal top choice in the way that I do my budgeting, so it's the option I would recommend for a majority of people. The great part about this is that it's completely free. Now, the biggest pro and con of Google Sheets is the same thing, and that is that you get to build your budget from the ground up. On the one hand, this may seem tedious and annoying, but on the other hand, the customizability means that after you put in the effort to set up your budget, it will be exactly how you want it. On screen, I'll pop up an example of what my budget looks like. It's pretty simple with a net worth tracker where I input the beginning balances at the start of the month and the ending balances at the end of the month. Then below that, I have an expected income and actual income box that are used for calculations below. Then I have the actual budget itself where I put the budget amount in the column on the left and the actual amount in the column on the right. The actual amount column is polling formulas with all the transactions that I populate over to the right. I generally update this every 2 weeks, and I just take 20 minutes to fill in all my expenses over the course of those 2 weeks. This is a manual process, but is good for knowing where my money is going and allows me to see if I need to pull back spending in some areas. Now, if the manual aspect of using Sheets seems tedious for you, there are a ton of good budgeting apps that have awesome features that link your accounts together to make it so you don't have to do all the expense tracking manually. Unfortunately, from what I've found, as I mentioned earlier, these are paid apps, so do keep that in mind. Only pay for it if you really want all the features, but for most people, I don't think it makes much sense to spend money on a budgeting app when ultimately with budgeting, we're trying to better manage our finances, which is hard if we're paying for tons of different apps and subscriptions. With that being said, the two apps I've heard great things about are Copilot and Monarch Money. If I had to pick one, I would choose Copilot as they have a nice user interface and all the features I would want. In some ways, it seems as if Copilot is the Apple of budgeting apps with their aesthetic, easy to use features. But with that, also comes with Apple level prices, as it costs $13 a month or $95 a year if you buy their yearly subscription. When you pay for Copilot, there are a plethora of features that will help you to set up once you link all of your accounts from credit cards, investment accounts, and bank accounts. The app will create expense categories for you, but you can tweak them and add your own if something you want isn't there. Then, it will automatically track your transactions and categorize them into the appropriate bucket. Their dashboard is easy to figure out and very easy to see how you're doing in comparison to your budget. The other alternative, Monarch Money, is another app I've heard great things about that functions very similar to Copilot. It has a similar price point at $100 a year, so really the decision between the two is which one has the interface you like better. For our fourth app that we need to help organize our finances, it's our credit card apps. Depending on how many credit cards you hold, if any, this might actually be a few different apps that you have with each of the associated lenders. The reason we want this on our phone is so that we can make sure we aren't overspending on our credit card and so we pay our balance off in full every billing cycle. The last thing we want is to go into credit card debt as they have exorbitant interest rates if you do. I personally have 3 different lenders I have credit cards with as of right now, which are Chase, Discover, and American Express. So I have each of those apps on my phone so I don't miss anything. If you're wondering why I have credit cards with these lenders, I have other videos on my channel about the best credit cards that you can check out. But really, the important thing here is that no matter what card you have, you're monitoring it well. And this segues right into our next app, which is a credit score monitoring app. Your credit score, whether you like it or not, is a very important financial metric when it comes to getting loans and credit cards. Thus, you should keep on top of it to make sure it's not dipping too low. Now, a few of the apps mentioned above, such as SoFi and Chase, have credit score monitoring as a feature within the app. However, I prefer two different apps, with the first one being Experian. Experian is one of the 3 big credit bureaus in the United States. The Experian app is free, although they do have some paid features, but you don't need those to monitor your score. Experian only gives you their credit score and doesn't give you TransUnion's and Equifax's score, but the reason I like this app the most is that it provides you with your FICO 8 score. See, there's 2 popular credit scoring measures, FICO and Vantage. Most other apps only provide you with your Vantage scores, but the catch is most lenders use your FICO score to determine whether they want to lend you money or not. And even though Experian only provides one of the 3 scores, usually your credit score at each bureau will be roughly the same with just a few minor differences. So you can still monitor your credit profile using this one score. Now, if you wanted a secondary source to validate your credit score, the next app I also have is Credit Karma. Credit Karma provides you with Equifax and TransUnion's Vantage scores completely free. I use this app as a backup to Experian, but it's nice to have to ensure the other bureaus are also showing a good score. Again, credit scores are something I've covered in previous credit card videos, so if you want to know more, you can go check those out to learn more about them. And with that, we wrapped up the 5 personal finance apps that I think everybody should be using. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, and you can check out some other videos of mine over here, and thank you very much for watching.